Hi and good morning and welcome to this webinar titled Point of Use Filters, Filter Management Made Simple, which is being held by AquaFree in association with the monthly IHEAM magazine, Health Estate Journal. My name is Jonathan Bailey and I'm the editor of HEJ. AquaFree, which says it's dedicated to maintaining and improving water hygiene, explains that over the next 15 minutes or so, it will be looking to address and clarify some of the issues and questions that filter users have. For instance, around regular changing of filters and the reasons why this is necessary, and effective filter cleaning. Company says, filtration is essential to the treatment of drinking water and is the only way to ensure reliable protection against waterborne pathogens that cause disease. The webinar will be presented by AquaFree MD, Dr. Florian Dibben, Sales and Operation Director Mark Aristidou, and Head of Product Management and Market Development, Holger Eggert. That fanfare was an extra, by the way. We don't normally have that. During the webinar, please type in any questions you may have for the speakers using the questions tab on the right of the screen, and at the close of the presentations I will put as many of the questions as time allows to Jack Ansell and Mark Aristidou. I'm sure you'll find this an interesting and very informative session from AquaFree. Over to you, gentlemen.
Good morning, and thank you all for joining us for this webinar on Point of Use Filters, Filter Management Made Simple. We hope you will find the information useful and informative and something that you can put into practice. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them at the end during our Q&A or by contacting us at any time. We're always happy to help. In today's agenda, we will be having a brief introduction on who AquaFree are and our background. We will be looking at filter health, cleaning and removing for sampling purposes, retrograde contamination, filter design and filter management tools and services. So I will now hand you over to Dr. Florian Dibben, our Managing Director in Germany.
Good morning and welcome also from my side. My name is Florian and I'm Managing Director of the AquaFree Group. Please allow me to give a quick introduction about what AquaFree stands for and what our mission is. Well, we call ourselves specialists for medical water hygiene. We help our customers to cope with water hygiene challenges. And how do we do that? Well, we develop and produce products and technologies that prevent nosocomial infections caused by waterborne germs and bacteria such as Pseudomonas or Legionella. A large share of our portfolio are sterilizing grade water filters, point of use filters, inline filters, and we serve over 1,000 hospitals, university and teaching hospitals in Europe. Core markets next to the UK are Germany, France, Holland or Spain. Based on 20+ years experience, we also develop individual solutions for special industrial applications that use water. A good example being a filter for the aviation industry that we just launched with Lufthansa Technik.
Yes, so when it comes to good filter hygiene, along with in-house routines that may already be in place, we recommend that touching the filter is reduced to a bare minimum. This is not always possible, such as in the use of shower filters, but every effort has to be made in order to avoid contact. Avoid the filters coming into contact with waste or industrial wastewater. This can normally occur when a sink is used to pour used water down it. In the case that a filter can be visibly seen to be contaminated or damaged in any way, that it is replaced and that the user is informed of the safe and hygienic handling of the filters. When cleaning and removing filters for sampling purposes, it is important to minimize the potential of contamination as much as possible. We advise as a guidance to use a dry, clean cloth to remove any water that may already be on the filters. We then disinfect them and the outlet using a disinfectant wipe. We are often asked for advice on whether certain chemicals can change the integrity or damage the integrity of the filter. We are always happy to offer advice on an individual basis, so please feel free to contact us. but as a general rule, most disinfectant chemicals used within the UK for cleaning purposes will not damage or compromise the filters, as long as they are used correctly and in accordance to the manufacturer's instructions. And once again, if you have any queries or have any questions with regards to the chemicals used within your facilities, please don't hesitate to contact us, and we can cross-reference that against a vast list that we have of chemicals that we have, and we can advise you accordingly. As a guidance, we advise if filters have to be removed in order to take a sample as part of your sampling regime, and critically be put back on the outlet, precautions are taken to prevent contamination of the filter. On top of any in-house methods that you may already have in place, a common sense approach is cleaning your hands and wearing gloves is advised. So once the filter is removed, that it is both handled and placed in a disinfected area and kept there for as minimal a time as possible. Once the sample is taken, then the filter can be replaced on the outlet. Some tap adapters may prevent water from flowing through them if the filter is not installed. And in order to overcome this, we can supply you with a sampling adapter, enabling the sample to be taken. The image of the little sampling adapter can be seen on the slide just underneath the water filter there. Once the filter is reinstalled, the surface of the filter and the outlet must be disinfected again, just in case any water droplets contaminated these surfaces. This must also be done for the whole basin area again, just in case any unfiltered water contaminated the area. We are very happy to provide a guidance sheet providing these step-by-step instructions, and feel free to contact us and we can supply you with these guidance notes for your in-house purposes. I'm now going to hand you over to Holger Eggert for brief notes on retrograde contamination.
Let's take a closer look at retrograde contamination. What is retrograde contamination? A retrograde contamination means the filter is contaminated from the outside. Now, what is the reason for this kind of contamination? The most obvious is water is splashing towards the filter when you're washing your hands. The second is aerosols from the siphon are rising up to the filter. This happens when water splashes directly into the barrier water of the siphon. The third is an improper handling of filters. This means, for instance, the filter gets contaminated with water from the line when changing the filter. And the fourth is a lack of instruction for filter use. Sometimes it happens patient touch, for instance, the outlet of the filter, or cleaning staff hang their cleaning cloth onto the filter for drying purposes. At the end, the consequences are you are in an unsafe situation because the filter might be contaminated from the outside with Pseudomonas bacteria. You are in a false safety feeling without knowing, and you compromise your patient's safety. When you sample the filter, you find bacteria that you are supposed to retain. These bacteria are not coming from the water mains line, but they are coming from a colonization of the outside of the filter.
Thank you, Holger, for that. In addition to how filters are handled and cleaned, there are other aspects that can be taken into account in order to help with their management and cleaning regimes. This is taken into account their design, minimal size to reduce surface area, angled outlets to reduce splashback from the drain of the sink and the sink basin. Coating of the filters can also aid by reducing the buildup of contamination. A concave outlet which reduces the potential contact, and smooth edges to eliminate areas of potential pathogen growth. These can also be adapted in shower filters as well. Concave outlet, smooth edges, a balanced weight distribution all make the cleaning and the management of the filters easier. Another very important aspect of managing your filters is the recording and scheduling of their changes. One way this can be done is using a management app. Aquafree offer a free app to do this. It's called Hygienius. It can be found on either iOS or Android phones. All you have to do is download the app for free. Once you register, you can immediately use the app to record your filter and schedule, or when it either needs to be removed or changed. All the data can also be downloaded as a PDF or an Excel spreadsheet. The date of the filter is simply scanned using the filter barcodes. The use of the app can be coupled, if so desired, with a comprehensive filter management service. So this removes the headache of changing the filters by using our filter change service. An in-house engineer will schedule a site visit when the filters are due for a change and carry out the change for you. Using the management app, these changes are then downloaded and supplied to you for your traceability purposes. The information is still completely visible at any time using the app for live updates. So you can have multiple users that can access the app and view whatever changes that have been made and whatever filters are scheduled for a change. Thank you very much for attending, and we will now move on to any questions you may have. Thank you very much for your time. And once again, please feel free to contact us if you have any further questions or you would like any more additional information or our guidance sheets. We're always happy to help. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, hi, and thank you very much, Mark, Holger, and Florian, for a very interesting presentation. There have been a number of questions. One of the ones we were asked was, in the case of Pseudomonas and Legionella, do you see very different approaches in the way these are managed in different European countries? Are there different approaches?
Yes, actually, we do. In Europe, they use, in addition to filters, we have what's called a hygiene siphon, and that's used in the drain of the sink, and that prevents splashback up onto the filters. So, but that's mainly targeting pathogens such as Pseudomonas. But in terms of the control of Legionella and Pseudomonas, fundamentally, they across Europe they use tap and shower filters, but they couple it with additional controls in terms of aerosols coming out of the sinks. But other than that, it's fundamentally the same.
Thank you. Somebody's asked, how often do the filters need cleaning?
Well, every hospital or every premise has their own cleaning regime, but as a guidance, we suggest daily. So if you have a daily cleaning regime, and then we advise that is adhered to. Absolutely.
Thank you. Another question is, can the filters be reused if they are taken off for sampling?
Well, again, this comes down to personal preferences. The HTM guides state not, but again, we provide guidance in order to be able to do this in a hygienic manner. So again, providing guidance, we can state if you handle the filters in such a manner, because filters are quite expensive, you know, to be simply discarding. If you want to take a filter off to take as part of your sampling regime and take a sample. So as a guidance, we provide a method to be able to do it in a hygienic manner, and therefore you can put the filter back onto the outlet.
Thank you for that. You mentioned in the presentation the sampling adapter for some taps. Can you explain a little bit about how that actually works?
Yes, of course. It's because at AquaFree, our sampling adapters, for example, in order to protect the patient, because if you remove the filter, you're potentially allowing contaminated water to come out. And in order to prevent that, our adapters have what's called an aqua stop. So if a filter is removed, a tap filter is removed, no water is allowed to come out. And in order to prevent having to remove the adapter in order to be able to take your sample, we've devised a little adapter which effectively mimics the connection of the filter. So you place that little adapter into the quick release adapter, and it allows water to flow through in order for you to be able to take your sample. So yes, effectively it just simply mimics the tap filter attachment which goes into the tap adapter.
Somebody's asked, what do you mean when you say the filters have to have smooth surfaces and edges? What are the advantages of that?
Absolutely. The advantages of that is that you don't have little lips or crevices or areas where pathogens can grow. And if a filter does have these features, then they're very difficult to clean and get to, and then you have the potential of pathogen growth in those areas, and it effectively makes it a lot harder to clean the filter, and you are much more susceptible to pathogen growth there in those areas. And at the end of the day, that is what we're trying to prevent and minimize as much as possible. So the design and shape and the surface of the filters is quite critical in terms of prevention of that.
Presumably a lot of R&D has gone into the development of these filters. Has that been done in overseas, in Switzerland or in the UK or Germany?
Yes, we do. All this is thought through, and the design and the thought process, the validation, everything is done in our headquarters in Germany, and also we have where we manufacture our own membrane in Belgium, and we have engineers that are constantly working on it and coming up with more innovative ideas in order to improve the functionality and the efficacy of our filters.
That's interesting. You mentioned retrograde contamination in hospitals. Is that something that healthcare estates people and infection control and clinical people are increasingly conscious of now?
Absolutely, yes. In particular with Pseudomonas and Legionella. That's why we're trying to highlight its importance. It's very important that the users of the filters, the estates people, are aware of this particular issue, which is more common than thought, than you expect it to be. And sometimes you get false positives when you're taking samples, because it's like Holger stated, a positive might not necessarily be coming from the post-filtrate sample. It could be coming from the fact that the filter has been contaminated from it, retrogradely contaminated from its exterior surfaces. So it's quite important that you maintain a good filter management system and cleaning system to prevent that from happening.
Somebody's also asked about the Hygienist app. One, whether you developed in-house that app, and two, whether it's free to download.
Yes, it has been developed in-house. We have a partner who kind of like runs the app, but in terms of how it functions, what its purposes is, and what it needs to be able to do, that was developed in-house. It is free to download. You can download the app on either an Android phone or an iPhone, iOS. And once you create an account, we can provide you with a tutorial, of course, on how to use it. So we can let you know, give you some step-by-steps and walk you through that. But yeah, it's free.
That's interesting. Another question is, would the filters be compromised if the filter change is made after the specific time window expires, i.e. 62 days?
Absolutely, yes. So we offer a change service. Aquafree offer a change service. So because some the estates people there got enough work on as it is without having the need to go and change the filters. So coupled with the Hygienist app, we would know when those filters need changing, and you can set the alert time. So if you want to set it 3 days before or 5 days before, you can do that. But hey, sometimes it's just not possible, and you might miss filter change by say 1 or 2 days or 3 days. But during our validation process, we build that factor in, so there's an element where the filter is certainly not compromised. It will still carry on doing its job, but to be on the certain, we have 100% strive towards changing the filters before their end date. But nonetheless, if a filter for whatever reason exceeds by 1 or 2 or 3 days, you needn't worry. The functionality of the filter is certainly not compromised.
Presumably you must be marketing and selling some of these filters to very large acute hospitals in large quantities in parts of Europe.
Absolutely, yes. We certainly do. We sell hundreds of thousands of these filters across Europe, including in the UK. So yeah, Aquafree they've been in the business for many years, and in terms of water hygiene, they certainly know what they're doing.
Obviously, market's a competitive sector. What would you say are the key advantages of your technology over other filter systems on the market?
Well, again, it's the thought process that has gone into the design and the structure of the filter. In terms of the membrane, they're all the industry standard in terms of, in order for you to be complicit, the membrane pore size is 0.2 micron. So that doesn't change. You can have smaller pore sizes, of course, but not larger than that. Yeah, a lot of thought has gone into the design of our filters. We also have a industry or market leading metal skin coating on our filters, which provides the best retrograde contamination, and we ensure that we have those concave outlets. We have smooth edges on our filters. They're finely balanced. We've now minimized the size as much as possible to be able to give you as much space underneath the tap for you to be able to wash your hands. So yeah, a lot of thought process has gone into our filters.
Thank you very much. I think that's all the questions we've had. I'd like to thank Mark, Holger and Florian for a very interesting presentation. We believe that 1 or 2 attendees may have had trouble with the audio hearing some of the questions, but a full copy will be made and sent to all attendees after the event, which will include all the Q questions and answers. But thank you to everybody for attending this webinar, one of the ones that Health Estate Journal, the IHEEM magazine, undertakes on a regular basis. And thanks again to the gentleman from Aquafree for sparing the time and giving a very interesting presentation.
And likewise, we would like to thank everybody at the Health Estates Journal for our collaboration and to be able to deliver this webinar. So we thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye.